bringing the people behind our food to life.
The first step, I think, is to realize that you're going to get stung. And so if you have any type of an allergy, you probably should take up another hobby. Even though you might have protective clothing on, a veil and gloves, they can sting through all of those. And I've been stung. But having said that, stings aren't that bad. Some considerations on, depending on where you live, you need permits. And that varies from municipality to municipality. Some municipalities have actually outright banned it, although that is being changed a lot. New York City recently overturned what they had in place, and that now you can keep bees there. But it would be best to check with your local authorities, I guess, as they say. I think the placement of the colony is important because if you're going to be walking there, or if you have garden visitors, or even near sidewalks in the city, oftentimes the regulations will state that the colonies need to be a certain distance from the sidewalk. But just having it in a garden area, there's going to be a lot of activity, and while bees are not necessarily aggressive, they're also not totally predictable, and who knows what's going to happen. My wife has mentioned that honeybees are the golden retrievers of this stinging insect world, that they're pretty docile, and unless provoked, they're not really going to be an issue. But I've had it where I've been working in the garden, not even working the bees at all, and bam, one's just right on me and stings me. So placement is good. Keep it out of the way if possible. It's also nice to have the colony in the sun. The bees, honeybees, do not hibernate, and so they're active year-round as long as the temperature is warm enough. But when it gets cold, maybe below 45, they'll start to cluster. The colder it gets to a degree, the tighter that cluster gets. And they generate heat the same way we do, is they shiver, contract their muscles, their wing muscles in the case of the bees. So having the colony in the sun gives you the added benefit of having the sun warm up the colony a little bit and maybe get them going. The other issue with bees is that they don't eliminate inside the colony. So when they hold it until it's warm enough to fly. So sometimes when you get a sunny day, even though it might be 35 degrees, the bees will go out and make a cleansing flight, as we call it. I take the approach, as far as cold weather, here in Portland, once again, fairly temperate, when the temperature rarely gets below 20, that they can take care of themselves. I try to keep them dry at all times, because they can handle cold, but they can't handle cold and wet. So having that added plywood cover or glass cover, or really anything to keep them dry, is my main goal. Now, when I started out 20 years or so ago, I was worried sick, when we had cold weather, and I was out there wrapping them with canvas and things like that. But I try to do what nature does, or what they would do in nature, and if they were in the hollow of a tree, there's not going to be any wrapping done there. So just try to keep them dry. Now, I know in some parts of the United States, in the Midwest and whatnot, they do wrap them with tar paper and things like that, but I don't have any experience with that. And then the last thing probably would be to make sure you have a water source nearby. The bees need water pretty much year-round, and it's better to train those bees to come to your water source rather than the neighbor's kiddie pool, for example. So those are considerations to begin.